Thank you, Sophia. Our next speaker is Ms. Nancy Blatteau.
I'm going to do it without the thing. I gotta teach your voice. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Leslie Blatteau. As a high school social studies teacher, a New Haven Public Schools parent, and president of the New Haven Federation of Teachers, I'm proud to be here today to support the New Haven Climate Movement Youth Action Team's efforts to raise awareness about the current climate emergency, to protect our children, and to restore a safe climate. Before I explain why I'm here today, I'd like to share some of my own experiences as a classroom teacher who has recently made the shift to focusing more on the climate crisis and climate justice in my 12th grade social studies classroom. I teach a class called International Issues, and until recently, I focused on human rights issues like war, human trafficking, access to education, immigration, and reproductive health care. And then in recent years, I've noticed that students have become distinctly more interested in learning about climate justice issues. And I quickly realized that climate education is not just for the science classroom. We must take an interdisciplinary approach and investigate the causes of the climate crisis, as well as solutions and the work of climate justice leaders in a range of content areas, including social studies. For example, this year, students have studied the work of Black artists from around the world and curated art installations focused on climate justice. They've analyzed the motivations for why people work for and against climate justice solutions, and they've engaged in a role play reenacting an Indigenous Peoples Global Summit on Climate Change, where they crafted specific recommendations to address the impact the climate crisis has had on Indigenous people. Our work on these projects has been some of the most engaging and memorable experiences for both me and my students this year. And it is because it is meaningful and relevant, and it impacts the lived experiences of students and their families and the world around us. I believe teachers and students in New Haven Public Schools can continue to make meaning of the climate crisis unfolding in front of our eyes, and use our classroom spaces to reflect, explore root causes, and identify necessary next steps on local, national, and global levels. So it makes sense as a teacher why I would be here today, to highlight what works in the classroom when it comes to centering the teachability of climate justice. But what some people might be wondering is, why would a union leader, the president of the New Haven Federation of Teachers, show up to support this work? And there are three key reasons why our work is aligned with the goals of the New Haven climate movement. The first is sustainability. After decades of systemic underfunding of urban districts in Connecticut like New Haven, we are hearing yet again of another budget deficit on the horizon. We do not have to rely solely on a dangerous and outdated model of using fossil fuels to power our buildings and our buses. Demanding financial and regulatory assistance from state and federal authorities will empower New Haven to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, reduce our carbon footprint, and effectively transition to clean energy and sustainable operations. More sustainable operations with a focus on renewable energy could save money in the long term and help ensure resources make it to where we need them most, our schools and our classrooms. The second reason relates to the health and wellness of our students and their families. The New Haven residents, who are disproportionately impacted by asthma, respiratory diseases, heart disease, and cancer, all of which are exacerbated by poor air quality and the burning of fossil fuels, and which impact our students' ability to be successful in our classrooms. Our working conditions and our students' learning conditions are connected. We want to be able to meet our students' needs in the classroom, but when their health is impacted, even to the point of increased absences due to these health concerns, it is harder for us to do our jobs and support our students' growth and learning. It doesn't have to be this way. Lastly, I'm here because I recognize the power of collective action. Change comes when brave people like these climate activists envision another, a better possible world, when they identify solutions and raise their voices to advocate for these solutions. This power of collective action is how labor unions, civil rights activists, feminists, and disability justice activists have won victories throughout American history. This opportunity for learning and leading outside of the classroom is not only welcome and inspiring, it is absolutely necessary if we are to avoid the climate catastrophes that await us. Our students and our children are telling us loud and clear how we can support their future, and I am eager to listen and support you as we continue this vital work. Thank you for doing all you do. Okay, we'll be here with you. Okay?